and welcome to No Such Thing as a Bad Movie podcast. I'm April Itmansky, and I'm here today with...
Justin DeClue.
And Colin Cunningham.
And today it's really cold. In fact, we got a huge snowstorm yesterday, so we need to start breathing some fire.
That's me breathing fire.
Why is this movie called Breathing Fire?
They all had a bunch of garlic before they started. Mamma mia.
First of all, yeah, I couldn't even remember what it was called. I'm like, that's a weird title for this movie.
I mean, they often... movies like this, martial arts movies, often have very generic sounding titles, but yeah, I can't really think of any way this has anything to do with anything in the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, they should have called it Bolo and Drag, and then they would have gotten the real audiences.
That's the other thing. Bolo Yeung, who we'll get into, is on the cover, and he's really barely in this.
Yeah,
he's like one of the main bad guys.
One of the henchmen, but he's kind of,
I would say, like, hey, he doesn't even have any lines, but he
does.
He doesn't usually have lines.
Not really.
Movies, right? He's more of a action
silent type,
guy.
yeah.
I mean, he does say some lines in here, and he sounds like he's speaking them phonetically.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was very excited because when I Googled the cover for this immediately, and I was very excited because it was, we've been on a Bolo Yeung kick. I don't know why.
It was an accidental kick.
Yeah.
We watched, like, we accidentally watched 3 movies, like, almost in a row that all had Bolo Yeung, except for Tiger Claws. We knew he was in that.
Yeah.
But we also watched...
We watched TC 2000.
Yeah, and then we watched...
Double
Impact, and we're just like, whoa, but apparently he is in everything, and it was just a coincidence that I just happened to not see him in anything other than Bloodsport until now.
Yeah,
I thought you were going to say that you were excited that Ed O'Neill is in this movie.
I know. I looked it up and I was like, Bolo Yeung, Ed O'Neill, and then I was like, oh my god, it's just going to be complaining to Bolo that he's not in the mood for sex, and he's going
toilets
not
flushing.
right now, Bolo, and then flush.
I can't see him being in a kung fu movie, but hey.
Well, I have a surprise for you. Do you know that Ed O'Neill is a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
What?
I had no idea.
Get out of town.
If you search Ed Neal martial arts, because I wanted to know more about the actual Ed Neal in this movie, what comes up is a bunch of articles of Ed O'Neill and how he got his black belt.
That's amazing.
That he's been studying for 15 years.
Holy shit.
Wow, cool.
Wow.
So he's a black belt. Good for him. Not in this movie, unfortunately.
No,
yeah, it's
Ed Neal in this movie is a martial artist. This was his first film role, and his only other credits are as the suit performers in Power Rangers episodes.
Oh.
Yeah, from his acting, you can kind of tell.
He's terrible.
Okay, so...
But amazing at fighting.
Yeah, so this movie is from, I believe, 1991, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
How did you find out about this, Justin?
So I just heard about it on Letterboxd. I am shocked I've never heard of this movie before, because as we'll discuss as it was playing, I was like, wait a minute. This feels like a seasonal film, like No Retreat, No Surrender or something like that.
I thought the same thing.
And I checked. It is not, but it was produced, written, and it feels like ghost-directed by a Korean martial artist who made a bunch of films in Taiwan. And this was his last production.
Yeah, that makes sense because I was not expecting anything from this movie, and I was so entertained. And the fight scenes are really, really good.
And
I'm like,
I wish I knew who choreographed them.
Yeah,
but
I don't
looking
know.
at the stunt people, it's all pseudonyms. K. Gary, N. Jackson, S. Johnson.
oh, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They barely tried. You didn't even make up 2 names.
Directed by Lou Kennedy, and I kept looking back to that. I'm like, wait, okay, this feels like a Hong Kong movie. Like the action scenes feel like, they were directed by a Hong Kong director.
I think they were probably just part of the team, probably
Right.
part of a dojo or something like that, which is why there's 3 directors. And I think it's probably the guy, Tao Liang Tang, who is the guy who kind of ghost directed it. He's famous for training Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter, well as the guy that you will know from The Goonies and Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom, who
Ke Huy Quan
co-stars in this movie.
Yeah, and he's actually amazing. I had no idea that he knew martial arts.
Yeah, I think that's what he did principally after, Hollywood didn't come a-calling after he was in those movies.
Yeah.
He became kind of like a stuntman. He worked on, I saw, some Korean productions, like The One, the Jet Li film.
Yeah, that's what I'd heard. So he had gone on to do his own career in stunts, I guess, and fight doubling. But he's really, really good. His fight scenes, and they don't shy away. They don't cut away too much.
Yeah,
you can really see the actors doing their own.
Yeah,
shit.
I was kind of looking for the stunt doubles, and I think I saw one for him in one shot, but
Maybe,
for the most part, it looked like him. So good for them.
He's really good. And this is the first movie I've ever seen him in outside of like the Goonies and Temple of Doom, and that upcoming movie from the guys who did Swiss Army Man with Michelle Yeoh. He's got like a big role in that
movie. I forget what it's called, but
it's like Everything at Once, everything around us at once, or something like that.
He also co-starred in a Taiwanese film called Red Pirate that he stars in as an adult from 1997, and it's like a big stunt spectacular with a bunch of like Jackie Chan stunt team members.
Really? Oh, cool. I gotta
the
check
thing
it out.
is, like, he can act.
He's good.
He's good in this, but
Well,
I guess
especially up against all the other actors that he's working with.
Ed Neal.
But I know you mean, Justin. It's like, well, he didn't like take off like a Van Damme or something like that.
Well, he's Asian and he has an accent, so they're like, no
that's true.
thanks.
Yeah.
I feel like he's one of those guys, like just seeing him in that recent trailer, like he feels like he doesn't age at all. Like he'll always be like this kind of kid, you know?
I think he was like an
kind
old
of
man.
kid face.
He's older, but I think that was in makeup.
Oh, they put him in.
But he still has the same voice almost, and the same. He's got like a baby face, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we should jump in the movie because I feel like there's a lot to talk about here.
There's so much. This is like 4 movies crammed together.
There's so much banana stuff. It feels like a second movie starts at one point. You're like, what?
I thought it was over, and I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Hey, at least I'm not complaining because at least it's not like nothing happens.
Yeah, for sure.
So it starts with a guy who looks like he's going through a bunch of junk food, I guess, trying to figure out the best way to hide something, which will be revealed later on. Mm-hmm. And this guy, his name is Jerry Trimble. He is a real martial artist as well. He did not have that much of a career as an actor. Previously, he fought a pre-famed Jet Li, well, Once Upon a Time in China fame, in an American film directed by Choi Hark called The Master. Just terrible. Not good.
Okay.
But he's in it. He has a giant, big bouffant hair in it.
Wait, so this is the father, right?
Yes, the father. So,
Okay.
Michael Moore himself.
He's sitting at a table. It looks like a table from like medieval times. He's got like pictures of beer and like
full of food. But then you realize,
it's all fake food.
Well, because I'm like, that's the fakest food I've ever seen. But it's supposed to be fake.
He's trying to hide something and make an impression. Did he try every piece of food to figure out?
Yeah. And then he was like, yes. Pizza.
I don't know why.
Course.
I don't know why this was part of the plot. Or
It
Like,
was
why-
so they could cut it up into 8 slices, I guess.
All right.
But you could do
There
that
was
with
like
anything.
French fries and stuff. People are like, what are they talking about? We'll get to it. But
Yeah.
He just needs to hide something in pizza.
even when we do get to it, I don't know if it really makes sense. But
Fake pizza.
whatever.
Plastic pizza. as
Yeah,
they
they make sure to say that. Plastic pizza. That's what we're using.
Yeah, he kind of
bizarre.
like takes a piece of one of the pizza. It looks like he eats it, and then he like fist pumps. He's very like happy for some reason. And then we cut to Ke Huy Quan and his brother, adopted brother. I guess Ke Huy Quan is adopted, as we find out.
His name is
Oh,
Charlie.
we find out. It's a big plot
I'm
point.
going to call him Charlie.
Yeah, his name is Charlie.
Ooh, yeah, for unfortunate reasons, his name is that.
He's a rescued orphan from Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
So his dad, I guess, adopted him. We find out the true story later. But his dad, right off the bat, as soon as he started speaking, like, this is odd casting for, like, a kindly father. He's got this, like, raspy voice, and he talks like this.
Guy. My name's Jerry Trimble.
little
But don't
intense.
worry, I got a nice name. I'm Michael Moore in this movie.
It's like, red flags or,
Red flag is his name's Michael Moore.
and and they're on their way.
Hey, April's gone hard right, guys. Watch out.
He's dropping them off at a martial arts
Oh,
tournament.
we didn't point out. So it's 2 brothers.
Yeah.
There's Key, and there's also a kid who he just looks like an Archie to me. Like, he's got that red hair, round face. I feel like he was probably part of the dojo because this is the only role he ever had.
Oh, really?
Eddie Savadra is his name.
He's really good
is
as well.
the other
at
brother?
fighting. Yeah.
Yeah, he's good at the action scenes. Really good.
Yeah, I get like a kind of Twin Dragons vibe between the two of them.
Yes, like maybe they were friends already, and then they're like, all right, yeah, you can be in this movie.
Sure.
He's okay at acting as well.
He's fine. He's serviceable.
okay.
Everybody in the movie is serviceable.
Yeah.
Except maybe Ed Neal.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every
So
line
they
he
go
delivers.
to a martial arts tournament, and it starts right from the get-go. They meet a bunch of toughs in the locker room.
Now, I was saying to April, okay, this only seems to happen in the movies. I imagine people, martial artists are, I don't know.
They're calm, nice people.
Maybe the most like reserved and kind of restrained people when it comes to being a hothead.
Yeah.
But these guys are assholes.
Yeah,
And they
it's
just
like
go
these
off.
two buff stuntmen. One of them is very hilariously bald, and they're like, they just like start picking on the two kids, and one of them grabs Key's necklace, and his brother's like, "Hey, don't touch that. The necklace is important to him." And the bully goes, "It's not important to me. What's important to me is that I'm going to kick your ass."
Yeah, it was pretty great.
April, tell us, was it like this at every martial arts tournament in the change room?
No. Well, I mean, like, I was in the girls' change room and there was hardly anyone in there.
They're like, we're gonna kick your ass.
But maybe in the guys' change room.
Hey,
they were all
Adlansky,
mean.
better watch
Yeah.
yourself.
When you were at martial arts tournament, April, was it just girls against girls, or was it just anyone can fight anybody? Battle Royale.
It was mixed, if I recall.
Cage
but
match.
Ladders match.
I think I only did a tournament not at my dojo.
It was the Kumite from
It
Bloodsport?
wasn't for fighting. It was for kata.
Right. I think you talked about this before. So
probably
that's like
did.
forms and
Yeah. So you're not fighting anybody. You're just doing your forms.
You're fighting yourself.
And I took home a #1 trophy.
Did you?
Not as big as the one in
These
this.
Did you
trophies-
retire because you were like, I'm on top and no one
just-
can take
Yep.
me down?
I'm just gonna melt all this gold-colored plastic into
So wait,
a.
did you only
gold
have to
ring.
do katas, or did you do like weapons? That's what Cynthia Rossrock would do at competitions.
I didn't do that, but I had colleagues who did, and a lot of times it wouldn't even be for like a competition. You would do like a weapons form just to like do it. It wasn't like you won anything for it.
I get you.
Yeah, I don't think I did that. Although I did have a bow. I still have it at home somewhere, and our Uncle David in this movie has one.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, hey, so I did learn forms with the bow.
Oh, so you'd be like rolling around, spinning the bow on your back,
Yeah,
firing invisible weapons.
exactly. Good
So
times.
the tournament continues, but it's also intercut with, oh no, the lovable dad with a gravelly voice is a bad guy. How do you know this? He puts on a tiny little mustache.
This is the fakest looking mustache.
It,
yeah.
it kind of looks like the mustaches like in Twisted Pair.
Do you think that we missed the scene where he was sitting at a table with like 1,000 mustaches
Like,
and he
that
kept putting
one.
them on? And he's like, yes, this one.
It's like as soon as you saw this guy walk into a bank, you would like point him out and say, "Okay, that guy's gonna rob this place. Call the cops."
And he's got sunglasses and a kink, so he's playing a blonde guy.
Yeah.
But it looks
It's like,
so fake.
It's like the guy at his like second class of improv where he's like, I'll be playing the man with the cane.
Yeah. So we get into this bank, and then you realize that there's there's like a ton of people
Yeah, he's got a big
in
team.
on this robbery because there's all these inconspicuous people,
So
including
we got
a Bolo
Tank,
Yeung.
who's very lovable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like Tank.
Big,
Bolo.
Bolo,
I think-
introduced in drag.
Yeah, I think his character's named Thunder.
Oh,
And I don't
I hope so.
know if they even say
I hope
that.
so.
I think it just saw that.
it doesn't matter.
He's
His name is
introduced
Thunder
with
now.
Tank doing a double take when he sees him. Like, oh!
Well, first of all, he's dressed like an old lady, and he's got a cast on his leg. I guess
Yeah,
like
I
It's all
that's
about the little details, Colin.
yeah,
That's
it's
how
like
you
that
make a character.
that giant buff
surprise
old lady
people.
couldn't possibly be a threat, and she's got a cast too.
And they start beating people up right away.
Yeah.
And this is when my eyebrows went, oh, because suddenly all these stuntmen are thrown through plate glass windows.
Yeah, like right away.
Yeah.
Onto coffee tables, glass coffee table.
Yeah,
It's
anyone
the classic, like, you kick a guy, and then it cuts to him 20 feet away landing on a coffee table.
Yeah, it's like everybody is on a jerk wire, and like
Yeah.
anyone who's kicked or punched in this movie flies off screen into something breakable.
Yeah, and that's a trend that continues throughout the movie.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't
lots
ever.
of glass.
And
breaking.
I love Bolo. He's a little bit of a troublemaker because he grabs a guy and rips a chunk of his hair out.
Yeah, that's
and then
how
looks
we're
at it and he's like,
introduced.
"Argh."
I feel
loves
like,
it.
Okay, so having only seen 4 Bolo Yeung movies, I think that's always kind of his.
I think so. Yeah, he's the silent tough guy. I mean, he's so imposing, and he's just so cool.
I know. Like he's so like like bulky and strong, but he's also like a really good fighter, and he has just this confidence that and he's often just going like, ugh. Like he doesn't need to say anything.
Yeah,
he's
he just needs to flex. He's got like he is so wide, his torso.
He must have been
insane.
like a bodybuilder or something.
I think he's probably not that much of a martial artist, even though he was in a lot of martial arts films, because he can't move that much when you have that much muscle. He gets stunt doubled a lot in this movie when he has to do more wilder moves.
That's insane to me that they could find someone that matches his body type enough. But,
just a guy injecting steroids like every hour. I gotta bolo up. Gotta be a stunt double. And we get an amazing Bolo scene where he goes into a bathroom and there's this big tubby guy. I love these guys that are like clearly stuntmen type. Like they're not actors. So they just show up for a stunt to happen to them. So this guy's like, "Hey lady, you're in the wrong restroom." And Bolo grabs him. And this happens very rarely in movies. The guy screams in agony as a stunt is done to him. His head is smashed into a mirror that was on a bathroom door.
For some reason.
He shoves his head into a toilet that's filled with...
Oh, that's a different guy.
This is next. This is the bank manager.
That was a different scene? Oh.
Yeah, so they go after the bank manager because they need 2 different codes for the bank or 2 different keys.
Right.
So Bolo finds the one bank manager and gives him, dunks his head into the toilet.
And slams his head in the bathroom door.
Yeah.
And he goes,
gross.
"Sorry about this. It's for your own good." And then he puts it's like the grossest pee-filled toilet.
Yeah, you don't usually see that.
Yeah, it's very vibrant. The guy's been taking his vitamins.
Bolo's a water sports kind of guy.
So they beat the shit out of everybody. They get the 2 codes, I guess. They go into the bank. It is full of gold bars, as far as the eye can see.
Yes.
Which is like 6, 7 feet.
In the back, and they have these 2 keys that are like giant.
These keys are so comical.
We bought these at the novelty key store.
How big are they're? Like 6 inches bigger than that. They're like that giant key in.
They're Zucker Brothers keys.
Yeah,
the giant key in Torque that he put.
Yeah, exactly.
Joseph Kahn saw that at a prop house. He's like, "Is that the breathing fire key?"
It's like something you'd have on like
on eBay.
A going away cake or something. If I don't know, the person is into keys.
You go to jail. We put a big
or
key
it's like
in
a
it for
comical
you.
like giant key to the city or something.
No, it's like the key master from the Matrix is retiring, and then that's the key.
They put a big key. Oh, you guys. Oh wait, he's retiring. That means they're deleting him. Oh, that's dark color.
Are you saying it's like a cake topper? Like it would be on top of a cake?
Yeah, it's just
It had to be a giant cake.
It's made of like fondant or something like that.
Yeah, I get
Oh
you.
yeah, you try to bite it, you're like, "Ugh, it's edible, but so gross."
So they have 2 of these things, and they decide their plan is to impress them
This makes no sense.
onto this plastic pizza.
Yeah, they press them into the underside of the fake pizza, and then what they're going to do is it took me a second to figure this out. They're going to cut up the pizza into pieces.
And they're going to destroy the keys. That's the
destroy the
important
keys. So every single person on the team gets a slice of the pizza with a part of the key. So no one of them can fuck each other over. They need
Not
everyone.
a single one of them goes, "Cowabunga!" What a missed opportunity.
Why it's pizza, I don't know. That never comes back.
okay.
in
So
the
this
movie.
is a remake of a Taiwanese film, but really the only part they remade is the fact that like it was something split into 8 parts.
Okay.
Yeah, so it could
And
be
it was not a
anything.
pizza, it was like a medallion in the flashlights.
But why is it a pizza?
Also, here's my question. Why did they move the gold to another location?
Yes,
Yeah.
you don't see it.
Okay, that's
but
why I
at
was
the end of the
confused.
movie, they go to the new location where it's very confusing. It seems like they're locking the gold back up into the bank.
I know that's what
Escaping.
that's what I see. And then and I was like, oh, they all left. Did they get the gold? Right? Well, what's with the pizza thing? Yeah, so I got it eventually, but it was confusing.
It's assumed, that they get the gold.
And so the 2 kids
they're-
also win their martial arts tournament.
They are kicking ass. They beat the shit out of those 2 bullies in the change room. And one of the guys has like
Not in the change room, like on the floor.
on the floor in the cage match to the death.
Aren't you a little bit old to be in this kids martial arts tournament?
Yeah, it's like, I
Those
don't
were
know.
adults.
A short round, what is he, like 13 or something like that? I don't know if they...
I think they're supposed to both be like, I think actually he says like 16 or something.
Okay.
He's like,
16,
oh,
17.
it was 16 years ago, blah, 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 my mother.
Oh, okay, all right.
Something like that.
I don't know. He looks young. He sounds young. He's like, like I said.
And they win the tournament. And what I noted down here is that the scene ends with like the most bored announcer being like, "They're the winners. They will represent California in the upcoming martial arts championship." It's like, oh man, can't wait to see that happen.
And we do.
So after this, we cut to the banker who was beat up in the bathroom, pull
Piss
up
face.
to his lavish home that has a fountain in the entryway.
It is
inside.
insane. It is insane. Everybody lives on estates in this movie.
Yeah, they had
And
access
it was
to
a
some
bad
good
day for
places.
him to get fake robbed because it's his birthday.
Yeah. Speaking of cake, he has like a shitty cake waiting for him.
Yeah, his wife and kid are waiting there with cake, and he just like runs upstairs.
Well, we should note his daughter is very important in this movie, and she has a little dog. Keep this in mind because it comes into play later.
She also apparently has like ducks and geese and like
Yes.
rabbits or
At
something.
one point, she goes outside, and we see geese wearing little birthday hats.
Yeah. I know. I just got
missed
that. She did that for his
It's
birthday.
very, it's
Okay.
very
So funny.
quick.
Yeah.
Like I had to rewind and be like, wait, did I see that correctly?
Well, you said it is all in the details. Yeah, so he runs upstairs. The daughter's crying. The wife goes up to console him or see what's
He's
going
like,
on.
I'm not in the mood for a party right now.
But he's been beaten up. But this is like a running thing that we saw. It's everybody's face in this movie. Everybody seems sunburned
And sweaty.
and shiny.
that LA heat, it gets you. Did you notice that the daughter had a giant watch on, a giant pink watch? I was like,
What?
is that?
Yeah, I think so. But I think I was just like, 80s, early 90s.
Well, this is like one of the rare movies that watching it, I got like flashbacks of being a kid in the early 90s. Everyone wears like faded t-shirts.
the windbreakers.
I assume
Giant
say stuff like
windbreakers.
Saved by the Bell.
Well,
or
you didn't-
Kids
you-
on the Block.
You guys didn't have K-Ways. I remember when Windbreakers
I had windbreakers.
first came out and they had K-Ways. I feel like we talked about this in another
We have
episode.
talked about this. and how much
It was
you love
probably No Retreat, No Surrender, which is, again, a very similar movie to this.
But then you'd fold up your K-Way into a fanny pack and then you'd put it around your
Yeah.
waist.
Well, I don't think I
It's like,
had one
oh,
of
it's getting
those,
windy. I
but
better break out my
yeah.
windbreaker.
It's ingenious.
So the banker's depressed, but he goes up to his office where he very solemnly writes out an envelope, and then we see a close-up of him putting the piece of pizza inside of it.
Again, why is it a piece of pizza? I don't know.
Nothing more American than pizza, Colin.
I guess so.
Yeah.
And then he gives the envelope to his daughter. He says, "Mail this to so and so. It's very important going
And
out."
when you get back, I will totally not be dead, and I promise we can celebrate my
celebrate
birthday.
my
better take your dog.
She just takes the dog is just like perpetually in her arms for the first half of this movie. And so she goes, she does not mail the letter, right? No.
Well, she
never
starts to
makes
walk
it.
away, and then the baddies break in
Yeah.
and grab the banker. It's like, you shouldn't have done that. His wife panics instantly and is like, oh God, oh my God, no.
She's right too. The whole gang is there, right?
Yeah, I mean, she does get flipped painfully onto the couch.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I think smashed into a table, and the banker's head gets comedically smashed against the piano and run along it. So it's
His death is amazing. The daughter's outside. He's got like a second floor gigantic window. And then I think Bolo Yeung kicks him out of the window and he does a front flip and lands on his face. It's
Yeah.
I think
amazing.
it goes really quick. He goes through the second floor window, and you can see he falls and smashes through another pane of glass before he hits the ground.
Yeah, it's so obvious. Like these are stunts that you'd see in a Hong Kong movie. I was so shocked. Like who directed this? And like
And the
has he made
daughter
any other movies?
panicked, turns around, runs, slips, and falls right on her dog.
But I'm pretty sure the dog was a stuffed dog at that
It is a
point.
stuffed
Yeah.
dog. It's real. She takes a face plant.
Yeah, it's so small. It's got to be a stuffed animal. I have a feeling that's how they do Bolo Yeung's fight scenes too. When he has to do something acrobatic, they just have like a dummy
have a
his
dummy?
size, and then they
Yeah.
just throw it. They just throw, they just throw
Throw
it
it
from
over a
off
balcony
screen.
like Super Bolo style, like Super Dave.
But you have to fill that dummy with like sand, so it is like as heavy as he is. 'Cause, again, he's so top
April's
heavy.
all about weight. She's like, you gotta get the
Dude, if
the weight of it.
anybody who's listening to this who hasn't seen Bolo Yeung, look up a picture of him and you'll understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying.
I mean,
I
Bruce
mean,
Lee.
you're so pro Bolo, but anti Cena. They're both muscular fellows.
You're
don't
right,
know.
but Cena could not. He couldn't kick
Oh,
ass.
who would win in a
like
fight,
Bolo
John
Yeung.
Cena or Bolo?
Definitely.
I don't know. I'd be more intimidated if I ran into Bolo on
Yeah,
the street.
Bolo.
Well,
He
John
looks
Cena
mean,
plays
too.
like
He looks really
plays like
mean.
good guys, and Bolo Yeung always plays bad guys. And
Yeah.
he had again all he has to do is just like look at you and like smile evilly and like, oh.
Oh, it's like he like takes great joy in like murdering you.
That's what his I
and
think
he won't just murder you; he'll like humiliate you.
Well,
and-
remember him in Bloodsport? Like it's like it's slow motion, like
He's so
like punching someone to death.
yeah, he's so evil looking. It's amazing.
Oh, it's so good.
I do like that this scene ends with the villain screaming, "Go get the damn pizza now!"
Yeah, once they start actually like saying pizza, you're like, oh, that's what that
Yeah,
is.
I just wanted one of the henchmen is like a bit of a doofus, and he runs in with an actual pizza, and he's eating. Oh, I thought you said get the pizza, boss.
Yeah.
That does not happen. Oh, we can do a punch up though. Breathing Fire version 2.1.
Yeah.
With some
So
more
then we
comedy.
cut to Ke.
Speaking of doofus characters, I don't know.
This guy, love him.
we cut back
Oh,
to
no.
like Ke Huy Quan and his brother's insane estate that they live on. Like this is
They live on like it looks like the horse tracks. Like
I
I
is
think
obscene.
it's a ranch because they
Yeah.
have horses.
They have everything.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's how you get rich. Rob a bunch of banks, put the key in the pizza, cut it up.
Yeah.
yeah, but I guess they're babysat by this. I don't know who this guy is. He looks like
I mean,
Captain
he
Lou
looks
Albano.
like Ron Jeremy's brother.
He does.
sounds
yeah.
like him, too.
I was going to say
Kind
Captain Lou Albano, but he has like kind of
Lou
lisp. But
Albano.
Charlotte, I'm gonna get you.
come on, guys!
has
Your
a
dad
lisp.
told me to look after you.
So
I think
he's
this is his only scene, isn't it? His name is Henry.
He comes back once.
Harry. Okay.
Yeah. So he's giving Charlie shit because he didn't clean his room, and Charlie just
didn't
giving
clean
him some
your room,
kind
Charlie!
of some kind of excuse, blah blah blah. And then he's like, "Hey, my brother didn't clean his room," and then he's like, he's practicing, so I cleaned his room for him and stuff. So basically, we already let know that Charlie's brother, what's his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Donnie or something?
Yeah, sure.
Tony, I
Tony.
think.
Oh, Tony.
He's clearly getting a little bit of
It's
preferential
because I love a
treatment.
pizza. His name is Tony.
So, the white son is probably getting preferential treatment from their mean dad.
I don't know. Look at this place that they live in, man. They're both getting preferential treatment.
I guess, but my point is Charlie is Scrappier one who is kind of like the more creative trickster younger brother.
Yeah, he's
you know?
like a little scheming monkey.
yeah.
He'll do anything to like get out of doing work.
And he'll kind of like cheat in the little games they'll play, and then that's kind of his character, but
Yeah.
he's more resourceful.
He's an
Very
imp.
resourceful.
He's an imp.
A little bit.
There's a really funny scene where they beat up Harry, the guy that we were talking about, by
hilarious.
like making him run into one of those like not inflatable, but like a punching thing that's like really high.
a punching bag.
It's like a weeble wobble. It kind of like has a heavy
Weeble
base.
wobble because Keith jumps on it,
Oh,
it goes
yeah.
back, and then he like springs it and smacks Harry in the face.
Yeah.
Like Harry in the situation is hired help that they're just beating up.
I know. It's like another
He's like
movie.
their
It's like these
nanny.
rich kids that are just beating the shit out of this
Yeah,
poor
you expect
bastard.
like Hulk Hogan to come. He's like, "Come on, guys, calm down,
Hey, your father told me to look after you, brothers.
Yeah.
brother."
Hey, brothers.
I'm just I'm the Hulkster. I'm just the third brother, part of this team. Hey,
Hold on a second. What's with the Asian kid? I thought you
yeah,
guys were
let's
brothers.
go see your father. It's me, your father, Macho Man.
Macho Man's back.
What is the difference between when you do an imitation of the Hulkster or Macho Man?
I think Macho Man
There's a
hurts
difference.
more.
Yeah,
Macho
it
Man
does.
kind of talks like this.
Like
Ooh,
this,
yeah.
All right, you got to say the word that gets me there. Bonesaw.
They're both like
I mean, you jump into this movie. Is there any redder man than Macho Man?
No. He would fit right in. Everyone is so sunburned.
yeah, everyone's got red faces.
Macho Man loves the rain.
There's a point in this movie where the dad is talking from within the shadows, and he's so sunburned that all you can see are his eyes and teeth talking.
The whites of his eyes.
It's so funny.
got
Like, why are they all red and shiny? It's like they all flew to LA or something, and they hadn't been in like the LA sun for a while.
Most likely, yes. But
Nobody
why
wore
are they all
sunscreen.
so shiny?
All oiled up.
Lack of makeup department, or they intentionally oiled their faces.
Probably.
But it's not their face; it's their whole bodies.
a little bit of column.
I was
A,
saying,
little bit
like
of column B.
maybe it was a heat wave, like when they shot this.
Possibly. Anytime Bolo walks in the room, it's a heat wave.
That's why it's called. Oh, I got it, guys. It's called Breathing Fire. It'll explain everyone's red skin.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's just what they're doing because it's so hot.
You're standing too close to the flame.
I was expecting a dragon to show up at the end that would explain all this.
Bolo morphs into a dragon.
He's just like fire.
This shot in
breathes fire.
1991 cost $3 million.
Phil Tippett has to come in animated. Was it Vermithax? What was the dragon in Dragon Slayer?
Oh, in Dragon Slayer?
Yeah.
Done in Go Motion. Anyway, I think we're getting a little off track.
Whatever. Back to breathing fire.
They get punished by their father for hustling the help, and they get
Not hustling, beating up the
I
help.
guess
Literally
they
beating
get
him.
tasked with painting a shed.
Yeah, so
Okay.
they're painting the shed, and then their friend shows up. This
With a surfboard.
Well, he's
Yeah.
like, let's go to the beach. And they're like, oh, we got to do this thing. And their friend shows them the best way to roll paint is to kind of like dance as you're doing it.
Do like
I don't
break
want to say
dancing.
it's not break dancing because he's not like on the ground, but he's like
They're popping and locking.
yeah, he's popping
Yeah.
and locking, and he's awesome. Which also reminded me of No Retreat, No Surrender because they also had a friend in that who was a popper and a locker.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Breakdance.
The
But,
martial arts and popping and locking are one and the same, April. You
Yeah.
cannot
Yeah.
separate
It's
either
true.
or.
So he
And they get their friend to paint the whole shed. Classic, is it Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer? Like, that's a bit in that, right?
Oh, I don't know.
It's like,
I
I
wouldn't
got him
know.
to paint the fence because, we thought it was fun.
And then he
This
starts
film is
popping
also
and
a remake
locking?
of Tom Sawyer. Yeah. Man, in my version of it, he does. Tom Sawyer 2000.
My friend Tom started popping, doing the popping and the locking.
Oh, and there's some other words there we can't say ever anymore.
Honestly, Huckleberry Finn came up on some other episode,
It
and
does.
somebody messaged me explaining the plot of it because I had never read it, and I already
we
forgot.
talked about Huckleberry Finn.
We
I don't
did.
think
It
I've
came
ever
up-
said this on
Yeah, it came up.
Maybe it was Tom Sawyer for the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh,
episode.
maybe.
That's
Oh,
probably what I'm-
what
Well,
it
we're gonna
was,
get a
yeah.
whole thing on Huck Finn and how there
And
was
the
no
whole-
popping and locking.
in the
Guys,
fence.
you don't need to explain it to us. We could write it in Google and find out.
We don't though. So
But we're not gonna.
We're just gonna make it up with our minds.
Yeah.
Also our hearts.
If you send us an email saying that, April will throw the computer to the ground to keep herself from reading it.
I get all my info on that stuff from Simpsons parodies.
That is. Oh no, I was trying to say, is there a Tom Sawyer parody? There definitely is at some
There
point.
is.
There's
Anyway,
probably.
we don't need to get it.
So we cut back to the other story already in progress, where the young daughter goes with the slice of fake pizza to the name on the envelope, who's a guy named David Moore, who works in a garage. He's a washed-up Vietnam vet.
Yeah, I couldn't believe at this point they were introducing new characters. I'm
He
like,
also
okay,
lives in the garage.
Yeah,
He's
I'm like,
a bit of a bum.
this would be the main
Very
character.
greasy man.
Oh, God,
That's why he's so red.
Again, there was a point in this movie where I asked April, has he always had a beard in this movie, or has he
I was
just
like,
been
I don't
so
think
filthy and sunburned?
I think it was just dirt.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's hard to tell.
And they talk a little bit, then some baddies show up. Are these baddies supposed to be the same people that killed her father? Because she goes, I know those people.
Yeah, they're pretending they're cops taking her away or something,
I
and she's
think-
like, I know them.
I don't know if they're part of the bank robbing team
They must
or they're
be.
just goons.
I think they must be.
That doesn't matter, I guess.
Yeah,
But
because
probably.
she knows them, and we have a actually very, very cool fight in the garage with Uncle Dave.
Yeah, and then you
beating the
realize,
goons.
whoa, he's amazing. He's high kicking, and he's this
He does a little, I don't know what move it is. Is it like tiger or leopard or something like that at one point? Like he makes a little fist.
he's doing the Taiga style, but he
Yeah,
also
there you
does
go.
this thing where he does a leg raise or a kick straight up to kick the guy behind you.
Oh, yeah.
and that becomes a technique in the movie. That
Ke Huy Quan uses that a lot in this movie, and he's really, really good.
well, yeah,
And
they
like
do.
all the other scenes, every goon goes crashing into the glass of a boat.
Oh, it's amazing. It's great.
So painful. I wish I could take the stuntman aside and be like, America does not value these stunts. You're killing yourself for
You
nothing.
gotta start a union.
as good
Unionize!
as all these stunts are, it's important to mention that this movie does have a little bit of a PG-13ness to it, whereas nobody is there's no blood and nobody is
No.
brutally killed on screen. In fact, I don't think
It's a
anyone's
little
even
mean
killed
at the
off
end
screen.
where you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, yes, but
Yeah.
it doesn't get violent as far
No.
as oh my God, they impaled a guy or they shot a guy. There's no
Yeah,
guns.
it's
There's
not
really
gory.
hardly any weapons
I don't
either.
think anybody really
It's all with
dies.
the fists. But that's still great though. But if you're
Yeah.
oh, I wanted something a little more hardcore, you're not gonna get that
Really?
here.
Do people go and watch
I don't
movies? Because
know.
I'm never I wish this movie was action film was a little hardcore.
I want to see
people-
short rounds
people do
stabbing people
full
to death.
penetration.
People do complain about that.
They do. It's just
April does.
it's bullshit.
He loves it.
No, this movie has a weird kind of tone. Yeah, I sort
Mm-hmm.
of described it as three ninjas mixed with heat.
With heat, I guess, on the bank
Or
robbers
like,
and stuff.
well, like exactly like No Retreat, No Surrender.
Yeah,
where
yeah.
There's young kid protagonists, but there's also like just a ton of like brutal martial arts fights.
Yeah, and adults have no qualms about beating the shit out of
Out of
young
younger
children.
kids, yeah.
Kids, yeah, that's right.
Because certainly Bolo Yeung doesn't.
Let's just say there's not like prosthetics of like heads exploding or arms breaking or
I don't know
dummies.
why
But
you
it's
need
still
to clarify that.
I know. I don't know why.
You know the martial arts films I watch? Anytime it's not story of Ricky Level.
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
Like, heads exploding.
People
and
are-
arms snapping up.
People are tuning out now.
I
It's
know.
like,
I don't know why I'm saying this
boring.
because this movie is awesome, but I'm just letting you know it's that kind of awesome. It's cool
I almost
fight
picked
awesome.
because it was my turn to pick a movie. No Retreat, No Surrender 3, Blood Brothers.
Oh,
I
that's
did not know
great.
how close they were together. I'm like, wow, these are very
Well,
similar.
I wanted to bring that up at the end of the episode because that's an amazing movie, but we didn't think it was available like at all. So, and I'm not sure it is available.
I think it's probably floating around on YouTube. It's one of those like forgotten films at this
right.
point.
Yeah.
Like super fights. It's the only
Yeah,
way.
That's
you're
another
exactly.
one. And
it's a good
these are
movie.
all like, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Super
Justin. These are
Fighter.
movies.
Did we do super fights for this
No,
show?
No,
not
we,
yet.
we didn't, but I want to
You
do
should
it.
do that one.
Yeah, it's
But
so entertaining.
These are all like American movies that were either directed
Had like Hong Kong or Taiwanese martial artists.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
Yeah.
why they're so good.
They're just like way more entertaining because as soon as you said this movie, I was like, oh god, because I'm just like picturing some shitty American boring.
I didn't even know that it was like a Hong Kong style movie. I saw some reviews of people that I trust said it was a lot of fun. So I was like, yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah, well, they were right.
Certainly better than that TX 3000 movie.
TC 2000.
Whatever.
Hey, how dare you insult Toronto's own
John-
director, star?
I love him in Tiger Claw.
He's fun in Tiger
Billy
Claw.
Blanks was
Mary.
fine. And that movie was
Yeah.
boring. Anyway.
I don't know. It had some good. You know what? Billy Blanks is very,
I mean,
very
it's
underrated.
no expect the unexpected. Did you guys see that when we showed it?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, he came. The star of it
Expect
came.
No Mercy?
Expect no
Yeah.
mercy.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
we did see that.
Yeah, we did.
Yes.
We did.
Anyway, so moving back to Breathing Fire.
Okay, so it turns out that Garage Man, Uncle Dave, knows our boy's father. So they go
He's
to the
his
ranch.
brother.
because they're brothers.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yes.
Yeah,
They
he's
are.
literally Uncle Dave.
Okay.
Like he's literally their uncle. Again, I thought it was just a nickname.
So he brings the girl to the ranch to meet the kids and the dad. These kids, there is like a hitting on montage. Like they're showing off to this, they're trying to win this girl over, both of them.
They're young, red-blooded Americans, or however you want to say. They're teenagers. They see a beautiful, surfer girl
with a piece of pizza
and
that
a
she
little
just keeps carrying
dog.
around.
She's got it all.
And there's a montage, a showing off montage. And then my note was they're so rich because
They are so
they're
rich.
riding on horses in like, a pool. I'm sure the pool has like a waterfall or something like that.
I
They're
mean, this
cheering her
movie,
up.
we should point out, because we'll probably say it a bunch more times, probably is almost more montages than Rocky IV. There are
Yeah, there's
endless
a lot.
montages in this movie.
There is one shot that ends a montage with the two of them running on the beach really fast. It was like Carl Weathers and
It
Sylvester
was very
Stallone.
Rocky for it.
Yeah, but they don't like play in the water and like hug each other in slow motion and stuff like that.
And like high five.
Yeah.
So the daughter does have nightmares of the dad floating above her bed about to strangle her.
yeah, which may or may not be real.
Yeah.
We
Is
don't
that
know.
the scene where he was in the darkness?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's got this like piece of fabric that he's like tightening with his hands.
Because if it's not clear, he knows she has the pizza, I guess, and he's like, I gotta get that back.
I gotta get that pizza.
Yeah.
I love pizza.
Also, we didn't. It's not really important, but we didn't mention that one of the robbers is this shapely woman who is like the dad's girlfriend, I guess.
Right.
She doesn't really do much in the
I
movie.
know,
No.
and I was like,
Have,
oh, she
yeah.
looks like a martial artist, and unless her scenes got cut, she doesn't really have any fight scenes.
Yeah, very
unfortunately.
disappointing.
Do you know why she doesn't fight? It's because the director is like, listen, we got to make more room for Tank because he's back, baby.
guess
It's
so.
very important that we get to know Tank's backstory, where he lives, what kind of movies he
Yes.
likes.
But he shows up right after the girl shows up as well, and they have a fight close to, I guess, where the horses stay.
Yeah, there's a big, all the thugs attack the barn. Bolo Yeung is there. Bolo Yeung does this amazing move. He takes off his jacket, and I think like Charlie's,
Oh, yeah, and he
whips-
it around
Yeah.
Key's neck.
and pulls him like 8 feet into the air. It's amazing.
Yeah, like the jacket suddenly grows like 20 times longer so we can grab him. Yeah.
It's like the Doctor Strange's cloak or something like that. It's amazing. But it's like, yeah, fuck, he's beating up kids. This is amazing.
That's what's interesting about this fight scene is it's in the middle of the day, just in their yard. And these two young boys they're kind of like they're playing it off like it's a joke a little bit, and I'm like, this is Bolo Yeung, he's gonna kill you, and he's trying to kill them.
It's you running towards them off screen.
So they end up besting him with does Uncle David just jump in and help them?
Uncle David does a awesome flip off of the fence, and watching it I'm like, I'm glad those crash pads were there that he could land.
You see the crash pads.
Not only just like a sliver.
I'm gonna blame that to that it's probably not cropped like for theatrical, like the way they shot it.
It is 4:3.
That's why you see the crash
it's not just like a corner of the crash pad. It is the entire crash pad.
You see like the tips of some boom mics as well. So I'm like, okay, this is a TV or a 4:3.
Yeah, because there's another shot where Ke Huy Quan lands on the ground and there's like a crash mat.
Yeah, but that was during the training montage. So you could say that they had a mat when they were like in the movie.
What about the grip holding it?
Well, maybe that was their friend. I don't know. Okay, so
the bad guys drive away,
but
and the kids are like, "Don't worry."
Great idea.
He Homer Simpsoned him. He put a paint can on the back of his
on the trailer
literally
hitch.
what he does in the Stonecutters episode. But this was made. I think this was first, so they could have got it from this movie.
I feel like it's probably a famous reference. You're gonna get emails now, April.
The first time that someone cut a hole in a paint can and put it on a car for a trail.
Hey, I'm sure Huckleberry Finn did that, or Tom Sawyer.
Paint again.
He tricked Tom Sawyer. At this point, the kids want to be trained by Uncle Dave, and Uncle Dave's like, no, I don't want to. Unless you like kneel on these bricks.
Not just kneel, it's their shins are on the brick.
Yeah, the shins are like on the edge of the brick, the corner of it.
Doing?
And the kids are little devils, and they try to trick them by putting their shoes. I mean, that's not going to fool them. Come on, guys.
Those schemers.
You can see it, yeah. So obviously he notices this. And so the paint can takes them to a nightclub, right?
Oh my god, the scene is
and
amazing.
Their dad is at the nightclub, but the kids somehow just don't know this.
Does he run the nightclub?
That's what it
seems
seems
to be like.
I don't know. Yeah, this
he's
is
just
like
in the back the whole time, and like the whole movie, they don't know until the very end, basically, that he is the leader of these bank robbers, which is really funny.
Yeah, so they kind of sneak into the bank or the nightclub, and Uncle Dave is already there, like sitting at the bar.
Yeah, I guess there's only one nightclub in town.
I guess so, and they spot all the thugs, and then I guess their friend from earlier shows up too.
The beatboxer or whatever you want to say.
I don't think they spot the thugs, do they? They just start to be like shits. They just like have champagne bottles.
Yeah, they just go onto the dance floor, and I'm like, okay, these kids like 13.
So he does this really cool dance routine, and as like
their friend.
Yeah, his friend is like full Michael Jackson.
Yeah, it's a Michael Jackson thing, and they start like spraying champagne bottles.
I'm like, who is giving these kids liquor and like booze?
Yeah, those champagne bottles probably cost like $500.
They just grabbed them.
And everybody is loving it. If like a 13-year-old boy came into like a nightclub and started dancing and shaking like champagne on you, you wouldn't be like clapping.
Shit, so sticky.
Yeah, go, yeah. I don't know if they do this as like a distraction. But anyway.
I don't know what their end goal is. It seems like they're just randomly like, let's just do the champagne thing. But a fight breaks out. People go crashing through tables.
Again, you're crashing through everything. It's amazing.
But then suddenly the dad turns on the,
strobe
perfect
light
device. Yeah, to hide his identity. Turns on the strobe. Throws on his little mustache.
Fake mustache.
And I gotta say it worked because I couldn't look at the screen at all.
If you have epilepsy, do not watch this.
I didn't get to see him at all.
Just in case that you're confused or not, there's even a shot of him rearranging his little mustache in the fight.
I didn't know what was going on. I couldn't see what was happening.
So were you confused later on, April, when Uncle Dave was limping and in a wheelchair?
No, but it's during this scene that I think Colin told me.
He gets his leg broken.
Okay.
Yeah, the dad kicks the shit out of him and like kind of breaks his knee, or I don't know. The doctor explains it in the very next scene.
Well, they go to the. Yeah.
You'll never dance again.
Also, when was the Vietnam flashback?
Oh, I think we skipped it. Yeah,
can you explain to me what happened in that? Because I went to the bathroom.
No, it isn't yet.
Okay.
It hasn't come up yet.
Because I missed I saw the very end, but I missed.
I think that it was the Vietnam flashback actually happens right when Uncle Dave meets the dad.
Oh, shit.
That's where I have it in my notes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So, April went to the bathroom and she's like, what did I miss? I'm like, oh, everything. They flash back to Vietnam. The two brothers were serving in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And I guess the father the kid's father was like a real hothead, and he was chasing some woman with a kid, and just like starts shooting blindly into
Why
a
was
house.
he chasing her? Did he think they were?
It's Vietnam, April.
enemy?
Everyone was a demon. Yeah.
It's a fog of war, April.
This is like that De Palma movie.
Classic Brian De Palma film,
Jesus.
Fog of War.
Fog of war. Yeah, so he ends up quote unquote accidentally killing this woman,
Seems
and then
like he just
they have this
pulled
baby.
it. Yeah.
You know, Ke Huy Quan's like just left over in this barrel, and they're like, well, I guess you got to take him home now, I guess.
Yeah, and he's like a friggin' 3-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's that.
And I'm going to name him a demeaning name based on
Charlie.
the time that I got him from. Yeah.
God, it's just, but it's
Never commented on, though.
It's so weird, though. It's like they kind of stick the kid with this dad that killed his mother.
Like, wouldn't the uncle be like, I'll take care of him? I guess he kind of became a washed up loser as well.
He's clearly like a psychopath. Like, it's
It's
clear
not really
in this scene.
explained why he adopted this kid.
Oh, let's give this guy a child.
Yeah, it seemed like maybe he would do it like if he thought he could somehow profit from it, but I don't know.
Yeah, I
so
don't-
maybe
I don't
that's
get
just
it.
showing that maybe he did have some good in him, but we don't see that
And
in
it
the
does
movie.
seem that, like, he had a good upbringing. Like, he doesn't hate his dad or anything.
Yeah.
No,
none of them
like I
have
said,
issues.
It's clear that there's a little bit of preferential treatment for his older brother, but
I don't know.
he seemed to have he's doing great. As his dad says, he gave him everything
Yeah, but
except his love.
usually the kids, like, when you get everything, you just end up hating your parents. But they're both like, have no issues.
They're pretty well adjusted.
got their heads screwed on straight
until the end of the movie when
things took a turn.
And so Uncle Dave is very, very angry that one of his legs is broken. He, like, punches it. He throws his crutches away.
I was laughing that he was just like, "Ugh," and he starts punching his like busted
he
knee.
tries to do his little form without crutches, and of course he can't. He got injured like a day ago. What is he trying to
Like, what is he doing?
I don't know.
mind over matter?
But I was laughing because it was like that the guy on crutches and something about Mary. He was just like falling all over the place, like and getting really angry.
It's kind of reminiscent of that.
And the two kids, Tony and Key, are watching him, and their uncle's like, I want you guys out of here. I'm sick of your shit. You know nothing of hard work, let alone discipline.
Also, we forgot to mention he's a terrible actor. Maybe we did mention it, but he's
Many
by
times.
far the worst at saying lines in the movie.
He's no Ed O'Neill.
And the funny thing
That's-
is, like, he's a handsome guy. He's a great martial artist. He's just not great at dialogue.
Maybe there's a reason they threw him in a monster suit when they shot the Power Rangers episodes.
Exactly. But I was like, hey, he could be a model or a fitness model or something. But anyway, he's good in this. But his lines are kind of just like, no, I can't let you go there. It's not right.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
And so what ends up happening is that the two kids prove themselves by resting their shins on bricks for a whole night.
Horribly injured them.
And then
but
going
whatever.
into a training montage. I don't know how long
Well,
this is supposed
three
to.
training montages.
Yeah, I don't know how long this is supposed to have
So
taken
good.
place over.
It feels like 4, maybe a year. Like,
Yeah, I don't really get it.
even though that Uncle Dave goes, it's going to be a long day, so maybe it just happened over a day.
Well,
Yeah,
the
maybe.
guys, they're like, we have to protect, what's her name, Cindy? And I was like, they're after her like now.
Yeah.
So when are you gonna do this?
Hurry up.
Yeah, but they do. They manage to learn, and they don't even define like the style. They're just like whatever.
It
he
looks
does
like
is
Tai
good.
Chi, isn't it? Because like the move of deflecting someone's attack, I guess is Tai Chi-esque.
Yeah, he's got like a bowling ball move.
It
that he-
absolutely is, but I feel like it's just like a combination of several things.
Yeah, but they're also using like the 36 Chamber of Shaolin, like the brass rings on their arms
Right.
at one point. They're crushing
That was
watermelons while doing
yeah.
sit-ups.
So many props.
I was just picturing like the police walking in on this situation. This old guy with like a
Beating these
staff,
young children.
beating these shirtless children who are all like sweaty, and he's like stretching their
Like
legs.
he beats them. He just takes a stick
and
He's
just whacks
smacking
them
in the
until
back.
it breaks. Yeah, but I mean, I love a good training montage. It's one of my favorite things in martial arts movies and sports movies too.
Yeah,
but,
you got to
like,
have that real like sour bastard as like a trainer who's just like, ah.
Not only that, I mean, there's a lot of things I liked about this movie, but I'll just say my favorite thing is the music. It's a very
Chintzy? Is that the word you're looking for?
original Nintendo sounding
Yes.
track, and I love that kind of music, so that's why I liked it. It's very, very 80s. This is a 91 movie, but yeah, it reminded me of the video game, like retro video game music that I listen to.
Yeah.
But if you can make that into like a cool martial arts kind of triumphant sounding soundtrack, I just loved it. So it needs to be commented.
Yeah,
on.
it's good.
So after this, we got to speed up. There's so many more events that we have to go through because they go and see Tank at his house.
Yeah, and we get to see where he lives and get to see his mom and the neighborhood kids, and he's just like a big teddy bear.
His mom looks like
there's a big goofy fight.
His mom is like a blind Nichelle Nichols. She looks just like Nichelle Nichols. And his bedroom is like a 10-year-old's room.
Yeah.
Well, he seems in the scene to show that he has kind of like the mentality of a 10-year-old.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was like, how old is this guy? Because they kind of explained that like he kind of I guess got over his head robbing this bank and being involved with all these
Right.
kind of bad dudes, and he cries to his mom after they have a little fight, and then they decide that they're gonna team up.
Well, there's an amazing stunt when they fight Tank where like Ke slides down the banister and he gets kicked out from under him before he lands.
Yeah.
So he hits
And
the
they
ground.
use like a
So good.
trampoline, very Home Alone-esque.
To bounce up into his
They
room.
also stick nails into his shoe, like a Home Alone trap. It was cool.
And the fight ends because his mother, who is blind, is like, "What's going on out there?" And they're like, "I'm just with we're his friends." And then a second later, the mom's like, "These aren't your friends, Tank. I may be blind, but I know you don't try to kill your friends."
Yep. So sweet.
So sweet. Well,
And then Tank breaks down. "I did something terrible, Mom.
I robbed a bank. And then she's like, "Oh, there."
And then around this time, we also have a scene with the female henchwoman who's with the father, and they're at the pool. And she kind of gets humanized because she's like, when are we getting these gold bars? Like, hello, like what's going on? And he's like, we just need a little more time. And he doesn't even explain what the issue is, which is that they're missing this last piece of pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, what am I supposed to tell the creditors? Like, I like now, like I need the money now. So now I feel bad for her.
My credit rating is going to be injured. It's getting to the 29th.
probably-
It's going to change.
I wanted to buy my second house.
She probably doesn't even get to enjoy any of this money. It all just needs to pay off her debts.
Oh, well.
What are her debts? Horse riding?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I want to skip to one of my favorite scene in the movie.
oh,
is,
so good.
You already know.
yeah, it's the two brothers they show up at a bar, and these two bartenders are giving them grief. They want to speak to, I don't know, Alan, I think his name is.
Yeah, he's one of the bank robbers.
Right.
Yeah, he's kind of like the second in command.
And you kind of know the gag immediately when you see these two guys. They turn out they're like dwarf bartenders. They kind of jump out
They're
from
kind of
behind the
hiding
bar.
behind the bar, and you're not really sure.
Little
at first.
people bartender.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's kind of framed in a
little
way where
people.
you're like, okay, you wouldn't know. But there's a pretty awesome fight between the four of them.
Yeah, one of them gets knocked out by a
Suit of armor.
Suit of armor.
But before that, they're kicking the two brothers' butts. Like, pretty good.
The old accidentally bump up against the suit of armor, and the suit of armor's hand comes down and knocks you out.
Knocks you out. And then
It's a
Alan
classic.
takes off, and then he fights them on a cliff, which is really good.
Yeah, I guess the bar was on the side of a cliff that they run up, and they can fight at the top.
It was probably
of
the same bar from
Dangerous
Men.
Dangerous
Yeah.
Man,
On
the
yeah,
side
right
of
on
the
the
cliff
beach.
It's awesome. They have a really, really good fight at the top of this cliff. It's great.
And so they never say it, but the idea is that they accidentally or pretend to knock out the piece of pizza.
Yeah,
Yes.
they throw it off the cliff, and Alan runs down and grabs it, and then the scene
Yeah,
ends.
so that means everybody has a piece of pizza now, so they can finally open up the key.
I guess.
They ditch it, though. They actually do ditch it down the mountain.
Yep, but they smile and nod at each other, the two
Like
kids.
it's all
'cause
part of
they're
the plan. I guess they put another
all part of
paint
the plan,
can on his car or something like that.
Well, what if they put like a tracker in it or something in the pizza?
Oh, they got the paint
Yeah,
can.
the
You don't need
paint can.
to have a
They
tracker.
didn't show that though, so I don't know.
It's
he
assumed.
fell for that
We've
one.
already
If they
seen
had
it.
a tracker, they wouldn't.
Old
they wouldn't be
painty
using
can Alan.
Old painty can. It is the way Huck Finn has always done it. We continue to do it like
And then
this.
he grabs the piece of pizza, and there's like a paint can hanging from it.
Yeah, and like
He'll
it's
never
small,
know.
You guys.
Yeah.
It's smaller than a
Yeah.
regular piece of pizza, just so you know.
When I think of Huck Finn, all I think is like chase music.
Deliverance.
Yeah, I guess Deliverance. I am the South, right?
Yeah.
So then there's a big kind of like meeting up at an oil refinery.
Yeah, it's like the old factory showdown.
That's where they're keeping the gold bars.
So I think this is the location where they shot Nemesis, the first fight scene in Albert Pune's Nemesis, because there's all the crash buildings
It
on their
certainly
sides.
looks like it was too long ago I saw Nemesis.
Yeah,
Nemesis.
but it's very familiar, and it's in LA. That's probably the location they went to.
I wonder if it's the same.
Looks
I wonder if
cool.
it's the old bean factory from.
It could be. It could be. I don't think that was by a beach. Was this one by a beach?
I don't know.
I don't know.
So basically, all the baddies get together, all the pieces of pizza, and the
Literally.
cops are called on them. Doesn't really matter though.
Yeah.
Doesn't affect the plot.
They just have to. This is like the final
Basically-
bosses in the video game. You want to get to the big boss, you got to go through all the underlings.
Is it the final boss? Well, you're gonna have to stay tuned to find
Well,
out.
poor Tank gets taken out because when the cops show
Oh,
up, they're like, "Oh, we
so
know." They're like,
brutally.
"We know it was you." What do they?
They shoot him out of a
through
window.
Yeah,
Out of a window.
thought
Yeah. His poor mother. What is she gonna
I
do?
know. And now it's just like I saw that, and all I feel is just bad for
Oh,
his
so
mom.
I guess people do get killed then.
He's the only one, as far as I know.
Don't some other members of
How
the...
do we know he died? Maybe there's
true.
like a scene at the end where it's like, Tank's here.
Or they had a
it
crash
hurts.
mat on the
Basically, as
ground.
you can imagine, the father is like, because he's kind of the leader, he's kind of taking
He's the one who called the
he's-
cops. He
He's
betrayed
taking
everybody.
all the other members out so he doesn't have to share the gold bars, which was the whole point of the pizza thing, was so they didn't...
I don't know.
It was a very convoluted plan
Yeah.
for the guy.
So they fight Alan from the previous scene.
Yeah, who's also, by the way, some kind of badass martial artist.
Everybody in this movie is.
Yeah.
It's great.
His name is Alan in real life.
Oh, okay.
The Tony kid that's a classic first time actor kind
Yeah,
of thing.
Yeah.
That's just calling you by
Just
your
call me
real
by my
name.
name. I'll get too confused if it's another name.
Yeah. But yeah, they're all getting into cool fights.
They fight Bolo
They
Yeung.
fight Bolo,
Yeah.
at the top of a thing, and the Tony kid gets kicked down a ladder.
Oh, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Whew, that looks like it hurts.
Yeah, there's some
And,
good stuff in this scene. And then I guess like Tony, he's kind of out of the picture for a little bit. And it just comes
Yeah.
back to it's like Charlie and his dad.
Yes.
And he gets to do all
and
the cool stuff.
Dave finally admits to Charlie with his dad present. He's like, "You killed his mother." And Charlie's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, and he's really upset. He's like crying. He's like, "Dad, how could you do this?" And he kind of just starts like beating him up.
Yeah, the dad.
Yeah, because Charlie goes, "Did you really kill her?" And his dad villain goes, "I did it. So what? I got no time for regrets."
And then he goes, "Now you're going to see your mother in hell."
In hell.
Whoa.
Like, whoa.
No, boy, don't call me dad. Now get ready to meet your mother.
He starts.
In hell.
He just
Flips,
beats
like-
the shit out
yeah.
of like Charlie.
And like it's like it reminded me of like a Sammo Hung film because like Charlie's face develops bruises.
Oh, yeah,
and he's
yeah.
bleeding.
He's kind
when
of
he
a
gets
little
beat up.
bloody. Yeah, I mentioned no blood, but yeah, he's bleeding. Yeah,
Oh, he's covered in blood and bruises. And then at one point, the dad tries to kill Charlie and Uncle Dave with like a big crane full of metal. He tries to
a
drop.
crane, and then he comes crashing through
It is just
on,
a
like,
forklift.
It is literally just like, the end boss in a video game.
it starts to get really ridiculous.
You're like, didn't I defeat him? Oh no, it's the
Yeah,
Yeah, and then he
when,
gets in a
when he
forklift.
comes in on the forklift, he gets caught up on the metal
That he
pipes
drops.
that he dropped earlier. So it's like a little bit of
Didn't think this one
karma
through.
on
Oh,
there.
it's amazing.
Yeah, so it's kind of like Uncle David and Charlie versus the dad,
Yeah.
and they do end up
Dad is
defeating him.
and then the cops come and arrest him. But then Tony shows up out of
Yeah,
nowhere.
the other son.
He doesn't know what's going on
and
because he's
like,
missed.
"What the fuck? You're taking away my dad."
How could you do this to my dad?
So he's super angry.
My dad, our dad. Come on.
And also, he's like,
Tony.
"He killed my mom in Vietnam."
I don't know if he even says that though.
No, he doesn't
No,
say it.
well, he
They-
should've.
Because it's
Yeah.
one of those like movie things where, if you just sat down and spoke to one another for 30 seconds, all this could
Yeah.
be avoided.
But maybe he just didn't want to encroach on his moment of saying goodbye to his dad, who, by the way, is not dead. He is just taken away
He's
to
taken
the
to jail.
cops. But Tony does not take this well.
But we cut to the fight tournament. I guess the martial arts tournament.
Don't forget, guys, there's a tournament
So
that
that's
happens.
what I love is that there's still another
That's
scene.
my favorite part of this movie, is that, like, right when you expect the credits to roll, like it's the end of the movie, nope, there's a tournament. And not just, like, obviously Charlie's going to fight Tony, but you see them fight multiple people before the final
You
fight.
see the progression of the tournament.
And you're thinking, okay, it might be just like sequel setup, like April said. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be like a quick scene, and it'll freeze frame as they're, kicking in midair or something.
Because
nope.
Tony has completely turned into a jerk because he's angry about his dad being taken away. He can't believe.
Oh, Tony's such a jerk. He keeps defeating people and, like, giving smug looks into the camera, like, eh.
And then, like,
I'm a little stinker.
being mean about it, and like kicking them into the crowd, and just using excessive force, and like he can't believe that they did this to his daddy. He doesn't want to hear that he was evil, and he's just like, no, I'm gonna be evil. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe he'll be like the villain in the next movie, but no, we're gonna
resolve
wrap
it here.
which is nice.
So they end up fighting one another at the end.
Well, they don't fight at first because Ke doesn't want to hurt his brother.
Which is insane.
Which leads to the amazing line, probably my favorite of the movie. This is my favorite thing, where he, like, falls to his knees, and the ref, who clearly has never spoken in a movie before, he's probably like a real life ref, he's like, you want to be disqualified? You're a disgrace to the martial arts.
Yeah.
We can ban you for 2 years if you don't fight.
If you don't fight in this tournament that you volunteered to
You're
be in,
a disgrace to martial
and
arts.
you're
The martial
banned
arts.
for 2 years.
And first of all,
Not
at the
how it
beginning of the
happens.
tournament, Tony kicks one of his opponents before the match even starts.
Yeah, so he would have been
So
disqualified.
he's fine. So he's fine, but Ke Huy Quan doesn't want to fight.
This
But
school,
Little
You're a
racism,
disgrace.
I would say.
Not only
The
that,
ref
but
is showing his true
this
colors.
school also like punishes pacifism and is like,
Yeah.
be as cutthroat as possible. We like that here. What is Cobra Kai or something? I don't know.
you're a disgrace to martial arts.
So they start fighting. He agrees. He's like, okay, I will fight him. And so it's like this really heated battle for a second. And then there's like this weird moment where the brother is like about to kick him, and like a really big, like brutal spin kick. And Charlie has this moment where like he knows it's coming and he just doesn't do anything. Like he
just
he
takes it.
agrees silently to himself, like, I'll let him do this. And it looks like it almost kills him.
Yeah, I thought he was dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's knocked out on the ground. His like necklace flies off, and then the brother changes.
He
He's like,
realizes
"Oh my
what he
god,
did.
what have I done?" And he's like, "Charlie, please." He's crying.
Please wake up. Please wake up. He wakes
Immediately cuts to him
wakes up.
getting his trophy. Charlie's awake.
Yeah, congratulations, Tony. You're the champ.
Yeah, he says like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he does.
Ke Huy Quan, I was like, okay, he's gonna die. Like, it's one of those things like, oh,
They
thanks.
couldn't.
Bye. Nope, he's
Like the big tonal shift of like a Taiwanese
Yeah,
film.
exactly.
It's like, oh no, they died.
immediately into the next scene lifting a, 8-foot tall trophy.
Yeah.
Where do people keep these things?
That's
these
what I said.
Trophies.
April, where'd you keep your trophy? Your 8-foot tall trophy.
Mine wasn't
that
that tall. Mine was maybe a little taller than like a bottle of wine. I just kept it on my desk.
You broke it up into 8 pieces. You put a key
I don't
in
know
it.
where that is. It must
Tanton or
still be in
Tantu?
my home.
We're using it
in
as a
Oshawa.
scratching post. I've got some twine around it.
And that's it. The credits roll. You hear some of that video game music,
Yeah.
and that's it. Breathing
Oh,
fire.
Colin, I don't think you said what your favorite thing was.
I did. I said it was the
did.
door fight.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot.
There's so many good things in this movie.
I was just gonna say, like, why wasn't Charlie on the cover? And I know why, because they didn't think that it would sell. And to be honest, when I saw the cover and it's a picture of Bolo Yeung, like looking, scary with like a orange background, I was like, oh, Bolo Yeung movie, I'll watch that. So it's like that's the advertising. It's just like people who like martial arts movies know this guy. Who cares what the plot
exactly.
is?
Yeah, it's like back in the '90s. It's like direct to video. You're going through the video store.
You need the big names.
You want a badass or just someone that looks
And when I
mean
say
on the cover.
big in this,
Yeah,
genre.
you don't put Short Round from Temple of Doom.
There
on the
is an
cover.
alternative cover where it's the 2 kids on it and Jerry Trimble big behind them. And that's what you see on Wikipedia. That's the film's poster.
Oh, okay.
Well, that could have been cool, and not what we saw on Tubi.
Nope. Yeah, because guess where you're going to watch this movie? Shocker, Tubi.
I will admit it's not the greatest copy. I don't know if I don't think a good copy exists. But so it's not like the greatest like audio and video, but you know, it's not like unwatchable or it doesn't like sound like terrible. Like it's fine. I wish it maybe looked a little better, but that's it. It's on Tubi and it's free.
I'm sure in 2 to 5 years it will be released by Vinegar Syndrome.
I would love that.
4K restoration.
To be honest, like if they did do that, I would buy it.
Yeah, it's great.
I mean, I would
It's
too.
really good. Really entertaining.
Yeah, we need more of these kind of restorations of these types of movies. Again, No Retreat, No Surrender, super fights. No Retreat, No Surrender, 3 Blood Brothers. If you can find that movie, watch it because it's so good.
That's really fun.
Yeah, it's within this kind of vein, you know.
Starring Joseph Campanella from Science International.
Science International?
Yeah, that was the dad in Blood Brothers.
Oh, cool. Right, that's right. So yeah, that's Breathing Fire. If you want to email the podcast, we're at no such thing as a bad movie at gmail.com. And we're on Twitter at no such thing pod. And if you want to support us on Patreon, patreon.com/no such thing as a bad movie. And if you're on the $5 level, you'll get a bonus episode every 2 weeks. So you can have content every week if you would like. And next week, we're releasing an episode on The Last Duel. Have you seen it? Well, we did. Maybe you'd like to hear our thoughts on it.
Is that your pitch? Have you seen it? We did.
We did. And we're talking about it. And if you want to find me, I'm on Instagram and Twitter at April Mansky.
You can find me on Twitter at Decloux, DECLOUX, letter J. I'm also on Letterboxd at Justin Decloux. Follow me, please.
I was so desperate. You can.
I know. I gotta get a new version every time we do an episode. It just gets more groveling.
Please. You can find me on Twitter.
Oh, good old Justin. Come on, you can join my Twitter.
You gotta get that rust proofing, Gil.
Yep.
Those calicos will rust up on you. You can follow me on Twitter, SGTZIMA, and I think it's the same on Letterboxd.
Who knows?
And Instagram. Who knows?
Yeah, Colin will never figure it out, even though he says that every episode.
Know. One day.
Don't know your socials.
One day.
No.
Don't email us to confirm it. We don't want to know.
Well, that's it for this week. Try and stay warm out there because we're kind of in the eye of the storm for
You know
winter
what? I think it might
right
be
now.
just Ontario because I talked to other people like outside of Ontario and they were not hit at all.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, we were like legit snowed in yesterday.
Like it was crazy.
Like you couldn't leave the house and everywhere was closed. But hey, that's winter for you. That's January for you. I am April. I'm April Mansky.
I'm Justin Decloux.
I'm Colin Cunningham.
And remember, there's no such thing as a bad movie. Woo! I forgot how our own show ended for a second.